have a few things to say about how this session went. I think I made it way too challenging. And I'm speaking specifically about the plan that I have for the session. I didn't need to do 100 reps. And I hinted at that at the title of the video in which I actually did the exercise. I said 50 reps was a challenge. I really didn't need to do 100 reps. I mean, not for now anyway. My camera might smash if I'm not careful. Record like this. It's already got a fracture on it. Alright, okay, so I'm getting to a point where setting up to get into push-up position has probably been the easiest it's ever been, or the easiest I've ever found it after doing it for long enough. So I think that's a sign that I'm starting to get stronger. I further improved my technique during the session through breathing during the reps. I breathe in when going down, and then breathe out when going up. Not for any reason in particular other than just initiating or trying to learn how to breathe to help me do the reps. But I didn't breathe in when going down for a specific reason, and the inverse when coming up, outside of just that explanation I've given. So there's that, and the form that I'm giving myself by activating my chest when setting up is also helping me. But I would say with the wrist wraps, I found it actually more difficult to do the reps, and I originally had them to help me reduce wrist pain, but I found it more difficult to go down during the reps. It could have just been because I had more of a narrow grip with the wrist wraps compared to when I didn't, but I think it also could have been because of the wrist wraps itself, and because the wrist wraps are in contact with the floor, just like how my fingertips are. It's more difficult to push with my whole hand if I don't purposely focus on form compared to having my entire hand on the mat. It's something that I just have to find out. I just have to find out which one I prefer for sure, and that can change, and I don't mind if it does. But I think for the sake of my wrists, the quicker I can more easily do reps with wrist wraps, the better for the sake of my wrists, because I mean they're wrist wraps. They're supposed to prevent injury, not increase the likelihood of getting injury. So I'm definitely willing to try again with that. That being using the wrist wraps during push-up reps, and just pushing movements in general. Your normal push-ups, decline push-ups, maybe even L-sits when you're pushing your hands into the ground, etc. During maybe around the 30 rep mark, I was starting to find it easier, and I use that as a gauge and I used that for reference, and I thought that I'd be able to do 10 reps a set because I was finding it easier then, not taking into consideration that just because I found it easier then doesn't mean that I find it easier afterward, especially as I physically exerted myself more than I did when I was finding it easier to do the reps. I tried using that feeling to do more reps, as I've just said, but it didn't happen in the way I expected, which I think if you watch the video up to the point, it is kind of obvious that was the case. However, that's okay. Definitely getting there, and the fact that I'm doing more reps per session than before in terms of just in general for these push-ups is enough for me to think that I'm definitely on the way to making more progress than I've ever done before, and getting to a point where I can be able to do 100 push-ups with relative ease, like how you'd be able to see on calisthenics compilations, or maybe a brief 100 push-up session workout where technique has been mastered and the person's so strong that 100 push-ups is nothing to them because they've done exercises that are way more difficult than just doing 100 push-ups, to the point where that just seemed like a warm-up. And if I allow myself to, I definitely can get to that point as well. Just got to be careful with my wrist though. I noticed during some of the reps I'd break form, but when I would, I'd stop because I'm not trying to break form and break pace. I forgot where I got this information from to not do that, but it was someone who obviously is very competent and able with calisthenics, who I've seen on YouTube, and that's after listening to him, that's why I've started doing that. But something Zachavelli, I think his name is, something to do with Machiavelli, I think that's right. I don't know his name for sure, but it's obvious that he knows what he's doing, and I don't think he's faking it. So shout out to him, especially if he isn't. It doesn't look like he is, but anyway, that's why I've started thinking about not wanting to break pace and not wanting to break form more than I have done in the past. I've thought about not breaking form in the past, if I remember correctly, saying when I'd be in the gym, maybe doing tricep push downs on the cable machine, but I'm doing it more. I'm going out my way to focus more on not breaking pace and form during bodyweight movements at this point, after watching some of his videos. One in particular, I forgot what it's called, but yeah. As I was saying in the video, I think sticking to 50 push-ups a session is more than okay for now. Master that first, master technique, and master how many reps a set I'd want to do first, and I could allow myself to get to a point where I do 50 reps unbroken, no pause in reps. And in order to do that, I could do that slow, I could do that fast. Whatever ability I'd like to get to is possible if I just allow myself to, with the help of enough planning and programming and practice. Really, I think it is really as simple as that, outside of learning about sports psychology, and which to me means the mental part of exercise and getting through the exercise in terms of what's going on here. I think it really is as simple as that, but don't really think there's much else to talk about here. I'm starting to get a sore throat. I need to drink some water, so I'll leave it at that. That's the session review done. Actually, no, my spine, my upper spine just below my shoulder blades was hurting after doing a couple of reps. I've got to be careful there. And when getting out of position, my lower back, my lower spine was hurting me as well, just above my coccyx. So I've got to be careful there. I don't know why that's the case. It could be because I'm not tensing my abs as I'm doing the reps, but I definitely have to be careful there, and it would help me if I got out my way to learn more about what's going on there and why that could be the case. And in fact, I could speak to my course tutors about that. But yeah, other than that, I don't have any notes for this session, so that's me done. I'm out, and cheers to getting these sessions out again. I was a bit inactive. I didn't really do much after the headache, and I did have to push myself quite a bit to make the exercise video because of the headache. And for me personally, it seemed like one day of inactivity or less activity than I usually would do, it seemed like I'd have like a week's worth of effect of inactivity. I definitely did have to think about it a bit more to get myself out, to get myself out and to exercise, but I've done it, and I definitely don't regret it whatsoever. I like being outside and I like exercising. I'm taking care of my health, and not only physical health but mental health too, by being outside and just allow myself to be in a peaceful environment. So yeah, I definitely don't regret this whatsoever. I definitely don't regret coming out and coming into the garden whatsoever. But anyway, that's it. I'm done talking. I'm repeating myself. So cheers to getting these sessions out bit by bit, piece by piece, day by day. Oh, my left wrist is hurting. I've got to be careful. But yeah, that's it. I'm done. No more talking. Peace.